Believers, this is SUPERZOMGBBQ, and today we are going to be looking at WWE No Mercy. That's a small little pay-per-view that just seemed to have crept up on us all, just like every WWE pay-per-view, because there's like one every 2 weeks now. It's kind of crazy, don't you think? But nevertheless, there's nothing like complaining about a good thing. It was only a while ago we were having 3-hour pay-per-views that were pretty freaking horrible. Now we have a pay-per-view every 2 weeks, and it's brilliant. Every pay-per-view that's gone by so far has been exceptional. You know, SummerSlam was okay, but the rest of it has been pretty good, especially Backlash was just something else. And No Mercy potentially has the ability to be better than Backlash. But that depends on which route WWE goes down with it. Now, there's several matches on the card. Still, SmackDown does have a really depleted roster. SmackDown really needs a mid to top level face on the roster, as well as another mid to top level heel on the roster. Unfortunately, what I can see happening is without another top face, another top heel or two, is that you're going to start seeing the same matches over and over again, and there's only so much of that you can take before you seriously start to get a bit of rust on the whole SmackDown product. So I'm hoping that WWE does something about that very soon, as some of the results, as obvious as they sound, really in fairness, if they happen, you kind of wonder what's next for that person. So let's start with people who kind of have nothing going for them, but should have loads going for them, and that is Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin is in a match against Jack Swagger, and for some reason, I'm guessing it was something to do with Jack Swagger having his debut against Baron Corbin the other day. Jack Swagger had managed to get a win in possibly one of the most stupidest refereeing decisions going. Now, obviously, we all know that that was set up for this match, but it's still, you know, Corbin made a good job of what it looked like, but it's still just weak booking. And, well, Baron Corbin should win this one, and I personally think that it has to happen. I've said this in previous predictions and prediction videos as well. Baron Corbin needs to start facing people who are worthy of his time. And while I mean worthy his time, I'm not saying Jack Swagger isn't worthy of his time, because, you know, Jack Swagger has been it's crazy to say this, but a previous world champion in the past. But he should be facing Corbin against the likes of The Miz, the likes of Randy Orton, the guys who are going to push him harder. He should be in the tag team scene, face up against the likes of Heath Slater and Rhino for tag team championship slots, not sitting on yet again another pre-show or the first match. And it honestly just seems as if WWE really just doesn't know what to do with Baron Corbin, even with the amount of positive energy that comes out about the guy on a regular basis, and the fact that people do still think that this guy is a future world champion. Now, me know if you think that Corbin has what it takes, A, to win this match, which is what I believe is going to happen, but also to be a future world champion, or do you think this is the revival of Jack Swagger? Again, comment section for that. Now, next match. Now, I'm not sure when this is going to pop up. I would imagine that this will be some kind of mid-card match. Next match is Kurt Hawkins versus TBA, to be announced. We don't know what whoever he's going to face. It's obviously going to be some kind of jobber, and Kurt Hawkins is probably going to squash them. So we'll just say Kurt Hawkins is going to win this one, but it's nice to see Kurt Hawkins actually get into the ring and actually do something other than his kind of lackluster promos. You know, he's doing a great job with them, but whoever's writing that, it's either intentionally cringy or that person needs to be fired just very quickly. Come on. Please guys, fire him. Thanks. Now the next match is for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships, and this is between Heath Slater and Rhino and the newly heel-turned stroke 90s looking Blade impersonating Roman Reigns dressing the Usos. And it does seem that Slater and Rhino's probably going to come to an end, and I would predict that the Usos are going to pick this up. I would hazard a guess to say that Rhino and Heath Slater have some kind of disagreement in the ring, which then leads to Rhino goring Heath Slater by mistake, Rhino is then tossed from the ring by one of the Usos, or the Usos then involve Rhino to kind of get out the ring and chase after one of them when one of them clocks him with something like a steel chair or something similar like that whilst the referee's not looking. Something that's going to basically mean that the Usos get the dirty win over it and then start the new tag team championship. Cue Slater and Rhino to then go and face them on SmackDown to have the rematch, and then of course then it really starts to blossom into the Slater Rhino rivalry, which I can imagine then ends when Heath Slater and Rhino actually go and do something with their careers other than being a flimsy tag team together. Yes, that means book Slater properly, and for God's sake, Rhino deserves more. Rhino has been amazing since just pre WrestleMania 17. Love the guy, even though he will be remembered from that match, the Triple Threat Ladders match. He's only going to be remembered as one of the guys who ended up underneath Jeff Hardy after that Swanton Bomb from the outside. But hey, I personally love to see Heath Slater and Rhino retain, but the Usos probably going to pick this up, and that's my prediction for what WWE are going to do from there. The next match is going to be a women's match, I'm going to say, between Nikki Bella and Carmella. Now, I don't get Carmella. I didn't get her in NXT. I don't get her in WWE. Now, I'm much more into Alexa Bliss. I don't understand why people like Naomi are not getting pushes when this girl is, and I'm sure you got to push new talent. But I personally would have preferred to see a face versus face match between Nikki Bella and Naomi than I would against Carmella. Sure, the storyline's interesting, but with Total Bella starting, I would be very surprised if Nikki Bella versus Carmella ended up in anything else other than Nikki Bella winning. As much as Carmella needs the push, I think now is not the time. Maybe have Carmella win later on. I don't think now is the time for Carmella to win this No Mercy battle. I would maybe go for Carmella becoming a little bit too cocky, maybe thinking that she's always got the upper edge on Nikki Bella, and I would say Nikki Bella eventually comes out on top with the new, not the rack attack obviously, but the new cutter finisher she's created. I would say she'll end up using that and will end up pinning Carmella after Carmella is trying to be a little bit too cocky in the ring, thinking that she's had nothing against her so far, and then Nikki Bella teaches her a pretty harsh lesson. Now, as we get past this point, we are now starting to move into some of the most important matches of the card. And the first one I'm going to say is going to be, again, another women's match. Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. Now, Bliss seemingly has been chosen out of nowhere for this, given she's only just come from NXT, and she had such an amazing backlash. I mean, seriously, just watch the six-pack match. She came out with this Harley Quinn, and oh my, she was just great. And on Talking Smack, again, watch the interview she had with Daniel Bryan there, and it was on fire. It was awesome. However, Becky Lynch has been waiting for this opportunity for such a long time. Now, I personally, I can't disagree with the fact that, let's be honest, as much as it's an opportunity for Bliss, I can see Bliss more likely winning down the road, not now. This is more like a proving ground, kind of like when John Cena was facing the likes of Brock Lesnar, and it was kind of like a proving ground. This, maybe not in the same league, but Bliss is being effectively proven as whether she can hang with the likes of Becky Lynch, who is a main eventer. She is one of the 4 horsewomen, and basically is going to be the staple of SmackDown. And I still, to this day, cannot understand why Bayley was put on Raw. It just makes no sense. You could have put anyone else on Raw, but Bayley and Becky Lynch seem to be absolutely 100% meant to stay on SmackDown, and it just makes no sense. Anyway, back to the match. Becky Lynch, I imagine, will hit the disarmer, and that'll mean that Alexa Bliss does tap out eventually after a hard-fought match. Like, imagine Alexa Bliss gives a lot for this, and Becky looks, I would say, not necessarily surprised, but kind of shocked as that Bliss gave as much of that in terms of fight and enthusiasm, and Becky Lynch then gets the win and defends the first of many title defenses that she will have in her career. And I'm very genuinely, I mean, I don't think anyone didn't have a smile when Becky Lynch won, and she's going to keep that belt for a very long time, for a good reason as well, because if they get rid of the belt on her now, you just can't see her getting it back. And this is one of the things I was talking about earlier on, with people with not many places to go with certain results, and Becky Lynch losing just would not make any sense at this point. But hey, we could have a couple of shockers on the card. I think some of these results could go either way. Now, moving on to another important match, Brandizzle or Tizzle versus Bray Wyatt, the jobber of jobbers. Literally, Bray Wyatt can't catch a break. The guy starts to get pushed after WrestleMania, and it looks like he's going to be turned face or turned tweener, and the guy then gets injured and is off the show. Comes back, and literally, I don't even, just what? Why? I don't understand. Just the match against Kane, the Backlash was just, why? Wyatt just needs to be given a break, and I think Orton versus Wyatt is a way of, hopefully, we hope, of Bray pushing on to bigger and better things. And personally, I hope that this is the start of something where he can be turned to a tweener role, because SmackDown definitely needs more face talent that is going to challenge for the top belt. I can't imagine Bray Wyatt would go up against the likes of AJ Styles, and let's be honest, that's where Bray Wyatt needs to be sitting around. He needs to be hunting around that main event slot. My opinion is that Orton is going to go for the RKO. It is going to be countered a couple of times by Bray. It will be hit by Orton. Bray then kicks out, shocking Orton, and then Bray then eventually picks up the win. Now, how he picks up the win, I'm going to say, is by whoever helped him out of the crate that he got himself into on SmackDown Live. My personal opinion is that it's either going to be whoever this Sister Abigail is, or alternatively, it could be the returning Luke Harper, who could be back to cost Randy Orton the match. Simply put, Wyatt has to win, because if he doesn't, I just can't see the guy ever getting a break. This is huge, especially after what happened at Backlash. And in fairness, what happened at Backlash kind of makes it too obvious that he is going to win, because who loses to Kane nowadays unless you're a jobber? I mean, that's like James Ellsworth level of jobbering right there. It's crazy. I mean, literally, if he loses, Bray Wyatt might as well rename himself James Ellsworth. He'll probably get more of an opportunity doing that than he will pretty much anything else if he ends up another victim to the RKO. Let's move on to possibly, and some have stated this as the main event, no match of the night, The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. And trust me, it still feels weird that I'm saying that The Miz and Dolph Ziggler are going to have the match of the night, but there's a lot more on the line. As you may or may not know, Dolph Ziggles, is putting his career on the line for the Intercontinental Championship. He's sick and tired, as you may have seen on SmackDown Live, of constantly being looked over, but also when he puts his most in, he still loses, and he's had hit after hit after hit, and it just seems like he's had enough. And Ziggler has stated that if he loses, he retires, and I cannot see it going any other way than The Miz winning. And the reason why is because The Miz is on an incredible roll. He is obviously in the company's foresight, unless this is some way of taking the belt off of The Miz to keep Ziggler interested in staying in the company, or because Dolph has decided to extend his career within WWE as a performer, and all these rumors about the fact that he's beat up and he's got issues with his health and he wants to go into a backstage role or go into acting and stand-up comedy are all false. And The Miz is just he's gonna win this match, but this is gonna be match of the night. And if you want my honest opinion, this should be the main event. And if you think that as well, let me know in the comment section below. The Miz, after that promo he did with Daniel Bryan, and even way before that, the guy is one of the best things that WWE has to offer at the moment, on the same part with the likes of Kevin Owens, of AJ Styles, of Chris Jericho, and he just needs to stay champion and get good challengers who are going to challenge him. Not that I can see anyone who would, because Orton already made mincemeat of The Miz in one occasion, so having him have a feud against him after this would be pretty pointless. So it does beg to be seen as to who The Miz would then go up against afterwards. Maybe Dean Ambrose, for example. Could be. Maybe John Cena. Could be. Who knows at this point. However, The Miz wins with a skull-crushing finale out of nowhere. There is no dirtiness about it. It just happens. It's a huge result for The Miz. And the Ziggler gets the sign-off and the send-off that he deserves, which is a standing ovation from the crowd for the amount of effort this man's put in. I don't want to see Ziggler quit. But this match seems like it only has one outcomes. And if it does happen, we'll miss you, Ziggles. And damn, I just hope you aren't leaving the WWE, because it'll be a sore place, but there'll be definitely something missing if he's not around, and I hope he's not quitting. But if it's true what people are saying, and it's true what the rumors are, that he is too beat up to continue, and he's all the jobbing as such, or all of the overselling has just eventually got too much for him, or he's decided that he just doesn't want to do it anymore, then all the better to him, and I wish him the very, very best. However, if you've got your own opinion about any of the matches I've already mentioned already, before we get to the main event, let me know in the comments section below, and we'll see what other people think. But also comment what you think is going to happen in the matches as well, because it'd be definitely interesting to know what your opinions are, especially on how or if The Miz is going to be Ziggler. Do you think Ziggler's going to win and The Miz is going to move on to greater and bigger things, maybe move on to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship? Who knows? But now moving on to the main event, and I have my own opinion about what I want to happen here and how I would book this match. But I'm going to go with what WWE are probably going to do here. And this is AJ Styles, who is an incredible heel champion, versus Dean Ambrose versus John 15 times Cena. Who wants to go for Ric Flair's record? Well, that's great, Johnny boy, because WWE are not going to make this happen. Cena is not going to walk off of having 2 losses to AJ Styles and then beat AJ Styles, or beat Dean Ambrose to beat AJ Styles for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It's just not happening. My opinion that WWE is going to do is that they are going to allow Styles to win, probably through some kind of miscommunication between Cena and Ambrose. I'm not saying they'll be working together, but maybe some kind of altercation that happens between them, which sets them up for a feud afterwards, which means Styles can focus on something new and fresh, because Dean Ambrose needs to do something else, John Cena needs to do something else, so they're going to probably set them up from there. So I would say Styles probably hits the phenomenal forearm, maybe some kind of outside interference, something that's interesting. Alternatively, John Cena or Dean Ambrose ends up clashing heads, one of them ends up on the floor, and AJ Styles just crawls over and gets the free count. That would probably be the way the WWE would do it, to make sure that Styles, Cena, and Ambrose all end up. And I would see Styles pinning Ambrose to kind of put it to bed, so Dean Ambrose can now move on to something else. However, not the way I would do it. Now, if the way I would do it is I would just get the whole Cena matching Flair's title record out of the way. One of the things that stuck with me when John Cena said that he wanted to match Ric Flair's world title record was that he didn't say beat that, he said match it. Why would you, as a person like Cena, that's not a particularly good mentality. And me personally, I know this is obviously, we're talking hypothetically here, but why would Cena want to match it and not go for beating it and becoming a 17-time or an 18 or a 19-time world champion? My personal view is that they should give John Cena the win during this, and this would be what I would do. John Cena gets the win, overall odds, after maybe a couple of interferences here, there, and everywhere, and Cena then goes to SmackDown Live, where AJ Styles cashes in his rematch, where something funky happens. Maybe they can make it clean, and Styles effectively makes Cena do a Christian from years ago. He gets that big title win, and then he loses it straight away. And I would have WWE make Cena lose it so quickly that it affects his confidence. So that massive boost he got that Styles said he would never get again, because he's no longer the man, he's no longer the face that runs the place, Styles is now that person. Maybe have Cena pin Dean Ambrose to start some kind of feud between them afterwards, and have AJ Styles then beat John Cena in a rematch on Tuesday, and that would immediately mean that Cena can just go one more, he gets Ric Flair's title record. But think of it this way, what if John Cena was to go a year and a half with just one more to go? Because right now it's 2 to beat it. That's what he wants. Not to draw, but to beat it. Anyone would say they want to draw, they want to beat it, they want to be the best. And John Cena could easily, very, very easily, be that person who just couldn't get the job done, and maybe needs to resort to different tactics when he's coming towards the end of his career to make that one last championship happen, to allow the rest of the generation to move on, so John Cena can keep bringing up the other talent which is coming through the rosters, whilst then still people realizing that he has one more championship reign or more left inside him. But what WWE are going to do, let's be real, is they're going to keep Styles as champion and then probably have some kind of big angle towards Survivor Series. I personally would have Cena win and then have Styles win it back immediately on Tuesday to make Cena's confidence go completely from the highest high to the lowest possible low. And that is me, done. Thank you so much for watching this predictions video for No Mercy. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. below. So let's just cover this off. My predictions are Corbin versus Jack Swagger. Corbin to win. Needs to win. Kurt Hawkins to win. Hands down. It's gonna happen. The Usos versus Heath Slater and Rhino. The Usos to win this to start their first SmackDown Live Tag Team Championship reign and end the reign of Slater and Rhino, who I believe will split up soon. Nikki Bella and Carmella. I'm gonna go with Nikki Bella just purely because I don't rate Carmella at all. Not in the smallest bit. Maybe any more persuading. Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. I am going to go with Wyatt because we just don't need James Ellsworth, Bray Wyatt, the jobber. It just doesn't need to happen. Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. As big as an opportunity as this is for Alexa Bliss, and I am so happy she's there. Becky Lynch is going to retain this, and she's probably going to hold on to that belt for a long, long time. Next match, big, huge match. Probably should be main event match of the night. The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. The Miz is going to walk out Intercontinental Champion, and Ziggler is going to walk out no longer a wrestler for WWE. And then the main event, the final match of the night, the Triple Threat WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and John Cena. I have a different opinion to how it should go, but I am going to predict that WWE are going to make Styles retain the belt. So you'll at least have one championship change, which is enough for most people to get through a pay-per-view. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more WWE Supercard, WWE predictions, WWE 2K17, because it's coming out in a couple of days. And let me know what you thought about this in the comment section below. Description for Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and also Discord channels for instant, always on chat. And I will see you guys very soon. One last thing, and that is to Zombie!